Democrats in Illinois are pushing a tough new gun law that would restrict semi-automatic weapons and high-capacity magazines. But the Illinois State Rifle Association says Democrats are trying to push legislation through before the state's new General Assembly is sworn in next week. The judge is here with a reaction. Straighten it out. What exactly is Illinois trying to do?
All right. There are Democratic politicians in Illinois who would like to ban the ownership of all handguns by everyone, even in the home. And they cannot do that.
Right.
In fact, the leading case involves the city of Chicago's efforts to do that. The Supreme Court invalidated it. So the legislation that is proposed now will ban the type of weapon that was regrettably used in Connecticut last month. It would also limit the amount of ammunition that you could purchase, and it would reduce the size of the ammunition clip. It would also require additional registration, impose additional registration requirements.
But are these legitimate restrictions on Second Amendment freedoms? I mean, constitutionally legitimate restrictions?
Well, it depends who you ask. I mean, the court, honestly, just wearing my judicial hat, the court has not ruled on the extent to which the limitation on ammunition is a legitimate or illegitimate restriction on the right to keep and bear arms. The city of Chicago last year proposed a tax on ammunition, where the tax on each bullet, each round, would have been greater than the cost of the bullet. And their own lawyers persuaded them this would never hold muster, and the courts would invalidate it the minute it was enacted.
We're just interested in seeing where gun control legislation is going to go.
It's a very, very liberal/progressive legislature in Illinois.
Okay.
The Democrats have a supermajority after January 9th, so expect a major gun control legislation to be enacted
now,
there.
Yesterday,
yes. What do you want to beat me up about?
I would never do such a thing. But yesterday on this program, you got things totally wrong. You said that if we get to the debt limit, the ceiling, we should stop borrowing.
Oh, absolutely. It's not even a close call.
Wait.
Surely you didn't think I would change my mind.
We stop borrowing immediately and live within our means. Immediately, right? No more borrowing. Period.
Yes.
No more borrowing.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes, when you have a cancer, you'll cut it out. Not a cell at a time. You cut out the cancerous organ.
In maybe 10 seconds, can you tell me what you think would happen to our economy if you did that?
It depends on what the government does.
It stopped borrowing money.
If the government shrank the government, if it shrank each department by 10%, it would save a great deal of money. There would be a lot less obligation on the part of debt service for us to pay. I know there would be an initial reverberation here. I know that's where you're going. You could call it an earthquake if you want, an economic earthquake, because we are so addicted to government borrowing.
It would be
it's the reason our friends in Wall Street were so happy with the fiscal cliff. They like cash, even if it's freshly printed cash.
Okay,
even if it's cash they have to pay back.
Hold on a second.
We are addicted to the federal government being the engine of our economy. It shouldn't be.
I think
individual initiatives.
I think you've admitted that there would be an immediate economic crash. And there would be, and you know.
Well, I said earthquake, but we would get over it, and we would be far better in the long run by not having the debt service.
Okay, but wait a second. Take the case of a meat inspector in Iowa, right? He's paid by the federal government to inspect meat.
He shouldn't be, but he is.
But he is.
Yes.
And he's part of the deficit, right?
Yes.
Suddenly,
well, what do you mean?
Wait.
Okay,
just go with me for a second. He inspects pork. He inspects hog farms in Iowa. Suddenly, he's not getting paid. So he is not going to inspect the he's not going to inspect the hogs. So those hogs cannot be sold. Well, so they are slaughtered and they cannot go to market. You have a breakdown in the meat industry and every other industry.
You're assuming that the government, when it is required to shrink each department by 10%,
they would do that.
Would shrink the essential responsibilities of the department.
Of course they would.
What could be more essential than meat inspection?
They would do it.
Okay, then I'll tell you what would happen is then the purveyors of the meat would hire an insurance carrier, and the insurance carrier would do the inspecting.
It's against the law. You cannot sell meat in the United States of America unless it's federally inspected. You cannot do that.
Well, if the feds won't inspect it, then the law is impossible to enforce.
Doesn't matter. Does not matter. You could not sell that meat. Breakdown of the market.
That's an unconstitutional law.
Oh, yeah, and by the time it's gone through the Supreme Court,
only the feds can do X, and if others can do X, they'll go to jail for doing it. That's preposterous.
By the time it's worked its way through the courts, you lawyers would spit it out to the point where I'm dead.
You really were taught by socialists at the University of the School of Economics, weren't you? And it stayed with you.
I think
only the government can do these things?
Judge Napolitano wants a crash. I don't.
No, I don't want a crash. I want a government that lives within its means.
And you get a crash.
I suspect you do as well.
You get a crash.
You just have more patience than I.
You get Oh, that's a neat little compromise. Neat.
Nice tie you're wearing.
Yeah.
You do agree that we both want a government that lives within its means. I want it tomorrow, you want it eventually.
I think we
Fair?
can agree on that.
Okay.
We also learned one other thing. Stuart can't live without his pork.
Oh, but it must be inspected by government inspectors. Philip, no more uninspected pork in the castle.
Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. America has